I just did like a 3-hour VOD review of Zeta Division before we recorded this podcast, and I want to spoon my eyes out.
I think something happened to you earlier today because you're in a very negative mood when you were watching.
Yeah, I watched Zeta Division.
but you didn't.
Previously, in professional Valorant, Japanese teams have always struggled at international events. Zeta Division were one of the 2 teams who have represented Japan at an international event. They made it to Masters 2 Berlin and only won 1 map. Afterwards, they forfeited their chance to make champions in order to make their roster more competitive internationally. Coming into Masters Reykjavík, nobody had any expectations for Zeta Division, and a lot of the Valorant community thought that they were the worst team at the event, which is why it was so shocking to see them go on a Cinderella run for the ages to finish 3rd and steal the hearts of Valorant fans everywhere. Zeta Division improved drastically throughout their run, and by the end of it, proved that they were genuinely a team to be respected internationally. In this video, I'm going to be analyzing how they played Split, one of their strongest maps during the tournament. Starting on the defensive side, Zeta's primary defensive setup looks like this. Astra anchoring B site, Raze and Sky playing A, and Viper and Sage playing mid. The game plan is to control mid, forcing attackers to go through the main chokes and to allow defenders to rotate quickly. Zeta's match against DRX is an example of their defensive game plan and ideas going perfectly. Zeta's mid control starts with Laz putting his Poison Cloud in mid and using his Snake Bite to stop pushes when he feels pressured. This utility is layered with Sugar Zero's Nebula and Depth's Slow Orb and Barrier Orb. All of this layered utility secures mid control and forces DRX to go for a B pop. Having mid control allows Zeta's players to quickly rotate to A or B heaven during a site hit. Once Crow spots the hit coming, Zeta immediately have 3 people on site to throw utility and squash the hit. Without any mid control, DRX have no way to pivot and are forced to commit into B even though Zeta's whole team is there. On the other side of the map, Zeta typically plays A like so. Crow uses his Guiding Light and Trailblazer to gather information and set up 10 aggressively in A lobby. In this clip, Team Liquid use Cypher cages to try and deny information to set up for an A hit, but 10 is playing in front of the cages and can get early information for his team. Some weaknesses to this game plan are that Zeta's defense is weak to attacks through A main and their mid hold is pretty predictable. This was exploited by Paper X, who used a lot of A rushes with their double dive comp. They also used this smoke here to try and catch Laz rotating from ropes into A heaven. Cheese 2 also used this smoke in ropes to counter Laz trying to do his typical mid hold. You might even argue that Zeta's defense on Split is relatively weak, considering how defensive-sided Split tends to be. Yet, despite this, Zeta were consistently able to win this map during their lower bracket run, and it's thanks to their excellent attack sides. While most teams struggle attacking on Split, Zeta were able to win rounds with their patience, adaptability, team play, and ability to read the enemy's setup. The Zeta Division is a team that is focused on team play and executing their game plan. Their players rarely force individual plays. This is evident in how disciplined and patient Zeta are on their attacking rounds. They are very aware of potential dangers and very diligent in their approach, making sure that all pieces are in place before they make a move. Their bonus round against G2 was a great example of this. They're in a 3v5 and are stuck at A ramp against a 3-man stack. In order to take A heaven, they cut noise and wait for Sugar Zero to flank through ropes. 10 uses a satchel charge to break G2's chamber trip, allowing for Sugar Zero to complete his flank. Zeta have also proved that they have really strong team play and synergy. They always feel like their players are ready to fight with their teammates and make plays off of their teammates. Even when Zeta players are lurking, their lurks are timed perfectly with the actions of the rest of their team. This round against Team Liquid, 10 fakes a mid to B rush with his showstopper. After finding a pick, they slow the round down and fake mid to A, then pivot back to B. During this time, Laz has been lurking up mid, but times his push just as his teammates are coming out of ropes so that 10 can find a trade onto Scream. Then, on their B hit, you can see the players fighting and trading with each other perfectly to take site. On this A split, Zeta are fighting 2 Team Liquid players in elbow, and Depp times his swing perfectly with his team to create an impromptu crossfire. Against Paper Rex, Zeta flushes Jing out of ropes with utility, forcing him to fall back to A heaven. Meanwhile, Laz has already lurked all the way up ramp to find the pick on Jing just as he comes out of ropes. As Zeta go for a B pop, Laz rushes to help his teammates at B, and Depp is able to find the kill while Mindfreak is distracted by Laz's presence. On this mid to B take, Sugar Zero is lurking through B main and shows great awareness of Mind Freak's position. He knows the Mind Freak is going to be wary of his lurk, so he tucks in to stay out of sight and times his peek with his teammates' push perfectly. Here's another great example of Zeta's team play and timing. Zeta have taken ropes control and are getting ready for an A split. They've read that Paper X are playing aggressively in A main, so the second that Laz makes contact, 10 breaks the trip and blast packs the site to get the trade on Forsaken, forcing Forsaken to dash into a gravity wall. Another impressive element to Zeta's attacks is their adaptation to their opponent's setups. It's obvious that Zeta put a lot of effort into researching their opponents when you see how they are able to read their opponent's defensive setups. One of my favorite examples of Zeta adjusting their default to their opponents is this round against G2. Zeta have read that Mixwell wants to get aggressive with his op, so Sugar Zero jiggles B main from their spawn. They've also moved their Viper setup to deny info in mid and B heaven as opposed to their normal setup which is on A. Once Mixwell is spotted, he's pushed back with a recalled star and a Trailblazer. Now that he's not posted on the deep B main angle, G2 have no information on mid or B main. This forces 3 players to stay at B while Zeta go for an A split. The Zeta division improved by leaps and bounds throughout Masters Reykjavík and proved against some of the top teams in the world that they are a legitimate team with strong fundamentals and strategy. That's all for my analysis of how Zeta division plays split. Let me know what you think, and thanks for watching.